feels a little bit unfamiliar. So I hope it's okay. I'm going to speak in English.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's more comfortable for me. And also I think for our kids, maybe it's more comfortable for them also. I hope you can understand. So I was very happy to hear that people are very aware of the significance of Kathina ceremony, and you just very kindly explained that again, the historical meaning of this practice of offering robes. And the great lady Visakha, also a woman, compassionate woman, was one of the first donors of the Buddhist community, like Anatha Pindika. Visakha was very good in that, and she started this tradition of offering robes to monks. So I'm not going to really touch or address the topic of Kathina robe, Kathina celebration. Instead, I want to share a few words about other things in our life that are also like Kathina. Kathina means difficult. Kathina means challenging. Kathina means what is hard to do. And that is connected to the Kathina ceremony because the making of the robe within 24 hours and then offering it within 24 hours, and also within the 24 hours, monks have to finish the Vinaya Karma and give it to that one monk within the temple. So that's why it's hard to make something from scratch and do all of that. But I was thinking, we do this Kathina celebration, and today along with that we have the Sanghadana, thanks to your family. It's an annual celebration, and I think in Bangladesh, more than other countries, Kathina is celebrated like a very big cultural celebration. All the relatives, family members come back home to participate in Kathina. So it's a good opportunity to cultivate our community, cultivate our bond, community bond and connection. But it's also a very good opportunity to cultivate spirituality. Especially in Bangladesh, you see like today, many monks, many very renowned, famous monks are invited to take part in Kathina. There is chief guest, there is special guest, there is chief speaker, all kinds of positions. And nowadays, if you open Facebook every day for 1 month, you can see these live videos of these venerable monks giving talks. So the Kathina is a special event where you get to hear many famous monks give Dhamma talks. So it's a good moment for reflection, learning, and practice. But what I want to say is that it's not enough to do this great event, this practice of developing spirituality, listening to Dhamma talk only once a year. Because we have this celebration once a year, but life continues every year for 12 months, 365 days, 66 days. So our problems also continue every year, every day almost. Right? It is like we are being thrown into the vast ocean, struggling in life. That is the Kathina I want to talk about. The difficult moments in our life, the hardships in our life, the challenging moments in our life. What do we do? We have good moments, we have not good moments, we have happy moments, we have difficult moments. What do we do? What can we do to take care of ourselves? And how can we practice? We are talking about the importance of Buddhism today. We're talking about putting Buddhist teachings in conversation with quantum physics, or emptiness with atomism, or nowadays we have AI, artificial intelligence. So there's definitely going to be conversation between spirituality, Buddhism, and artificial intelligence. But how do we put all of these teachings, practices in daily use for the difficult moments that we have throughout the day, throughout the year? Right? So I thought I will be sharing a few stories from Buddhist traditions. Maybe some of them are from Zen tradition outside of Theravada tradition. And I hope that it's going to be useful and there is something meaningful in it. Now, talking about facing or engaging with difficult moments, what comes to mind is this story of a monk from Buddha's time. I think his name is Punna. I could be wrong. This monk, he was requesting the Buddha to go and give teachings to a village. And then the Buddha is asking him, do you think you are ready to go and share your Buddhist knowledge and teachings to the people in this village? He says, yes, I'm ready. I want to go and do that. The Buddha is asking him, what if those villagers, they do not accept what you are teaching? And they scold you, they blame you, they use bad words against you. And then the monk is saying, that's okay, those are just sounds, words. It's not harming my body or anything. They can say whatever they want. It's fine. And then the Buddha said, okay, but what if they throw stones at you? Now it's not just words. They are literally hurting your body. And he said, oh, those are just little stones. That's fine. It's not going to kill me. Or I'm not going to lose any limbs. And then Buddha says, what if they use knife to attack you? And then it actually causes you to die. And then the monk says, that's also okay. This body is impermanent. What is the point of being attached to the body? You were teaching us about letting go, detachment, and all of these things. So why should I feel sad about dying? We are all going to die anyway. That will be my liberation. Right? And then the Buddha says to him, you are ready. Now I believe that you are ready to go and share your teachings. Because you are ready to face any situation that might come up. So the understanding here is that actually in many ways our situation here is similar to that. All of us are far away from home in a place right now, this winter season is very cold and very harsh. Maybe not all of us are used to this kind of season. What are we doing to make ourselves ready to face this difficult situation? We come into a place where the language is not our own. Communication with foreigners is not easy. Maybe even the workplace is not easy. It's difficult and new workplace. We have to get used to it. We have to get used to international people. So how do we face these difficult situations? Right? Maybe in some workplaces we are also being attacked. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of stress. Maybe they don't respect us. I don't know. Right? You know it better. So what kind of quality, what kind of Buddhist teachings can help us? That's something to think about. Now, another example that comes to my mind is the story of Bhikkhu Mahakassapa, Venerable Mahakashyapa. It's because he is well known as the one monk who practiced Dhutanga practices, Dhutanga teachings, wearing one robe, eating one meal a day, going for Pindapata with bare feet, living outside in the hut. So all of these 13 Dhutanga practices. Not all the monks practice that. Definitely we don't practice that. Yeah, we live in heated apartments and we use cars to go here and there. But why did the monk do that? By practicing Dhutanga practices, what did he learn? How was it helpful? In Bangladesh, we have monks like that. We have Bonavante, we have Shilananda Bhante, we have Dipankar Bhante, who just passed away recently. I don't know why or how it happened, but these are some examples of Dhutanga practices. So these are examples of monks engaging in difficult lifestyle. They intentionally engage in difficult lifestyle. They know this lifestyle is hard, it's challenging. Maybe it's even difficult for their mind and body. Or maybe it's difficult for their body, most importantly, not the mind. But we are not all monks here. Some things it's possible for the monks, not possible for lay people. So as lay people, what can we do to incorporate Buddhist teachings, practices, as we engage with difficult moments in our lives. That is something to think about. And I think the Buddha's teachings, you're talking about teachings continuing for more than 2,500 years. It has not just been practiced by monks only. It has been practiced by lay people. It's a combined effort. And coming back to Kathina, it's just a combined effort. All of this organization is arranged by lay people, and the monks come in to kind of fulfill the other half. So it's a combined effort. And the Buddhist teachings are, you don't have to all become monks to practice Buddhist teachings. So there we have the study of Buddhist teachings, meaning reading books. We have the practice, putting the study into practice. The Panchasila we just did earlier today, the 8 precepts, the 10 precepts, sometimes people say, putting them into practice. And then meditation, for example. And then what do we receive from the practice, our attainments. So there is study, there is practice, and there is understanding. We cannot just wait for Kathina celebration to do all of that. We have to do this every day, every year, throughout the year, coming back to it, returning to it again and again and again. And this is something that we can do at home, whether we are in Bangladesh or in the US or in Australia, because the books are now everywhere. Even we can find the teachings online. So reading is important. Because if you don't do the reading, you only meet the monks maybe once a month or once a year. That's not enough to learn. But we can study. I think one time we had the weekly discussion online 3 or 4 years ago. It was very helpful to study the teachings. So you understand that reading the Buddhist text, you yourself can understand, or you have questions. That's important. And then to practice Panchasila or 8 precepts, you can do it at home. You can even do it in your workplace. Right? Now, there's another story I want to share that I think is very helpful for us to understand how to engage in difficult conversations. We, as people in community, we have disagreement with people. Sometimes disagreement leading to conflict. Sometimes this conflict leading to separation in the community, division, right? How do we manage this kind of, these are normal things. Every community, every tradition, every country has this kind of problems. But what can we use from our teachings to address these situations? I have a story that I think connects to this, but I don't know what you all think about. There are 2 monks. One is a senior monk, one is a junior monk, like a novice, Samanera. They are both going on a long journey, and as they are walking, they come to a river. The river does not have a bridge, so you have to walk to cross the river. Now when they come to the river, they see a woman, a young woman standing there, confused. The young woman does not know how to cross, she's scared. So when she sees the monks, she's begging for help. Can you help me to cross the river? I cannot do it. So they were both looking at each other and not sure what to do. And then the older monk, the senior monk, he just held the lady, put her on his shoulder, and then help her to cross the river. And then drop her on the ground, and then they went separately. The monk and the Samanera and the lady went separately. They kept walking. After 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, the young monk, he was so confused, because as a monk, you cannot touch a lady. You cannot hold a lady and put on your shoulder. So he was so confused, he is like, why did you do that? He's asking the senior monk. Why did you do that? You carried the lady on your shoulder, why did you do that? And then the senior monk is saying to the young monk, I carried the lady and crossed the river, but I dropped her on the ground, and I kept on walking. But you are still carrying her on your mind. So the understanding here is that he is saying, yes, I carried because I wanted to help her. She was helpless. But I let it go. It's done, it's finished. But you are still disturbed. You are still conflicted in your mind. You carry the conflict, the confusion, the doubt, even 3-4 hours after the event has happened. So that is still giving you trouble. So maybe there is a lesson here, is that things will happen, conflicts will happen, division will happen, disagreement will happen. But we need to let it go. When it's done, and learn to move forward with new opportunity. What is common between us and them? What is good for us and them? Something to think about. Now, one other thing I will share is this also. That's a story from the Zen tradition that I have read. This is another story from the Zen tradition as well, which says that a scholar from a university, very prestigious, let's say Harvard University, is very prestigious in Boston or MIT. He heard about a Buddhist monk living in a nearby temple and saying, I want to go and meet this monk to learn something from Buddhism, something that's good for me. So he goes to the monk, and then when the professor comes, the monk invites him to a tea. Like in Bangladesh, we offer tea to guests. So the monk is offering tea to the professor. It's not milk tea, it's just Chinese tea. So I agree with that, what she said. So what happened is that at the table, the monk has poured tea for himself in his cup, and then he is pouring tea into the cup for the guest, the professor. And then he is pouring. The cup is full. He does not stop pouring the tea. He's continuing to pour tea, and it's overflowing. So at one point, the professor is so confused, he got mad and saying, why do you keep pouring the tea? It's already overflowing. The cup cannot take any more tea. So then the monk stopped. He's saying, that's the point. If you want to learn something, you have to first empty your mind. If your mind is already full, it does not matter what I teach you or what you learn from Buddhist books or anything, it does not go in because your mind is already full. And so the idea is that a lot of the times we come with our own judgment, like we know everything. And when we come to have a conversation or learn something, we are not open. Our mind is already full. So whenever someone is telling, maybe whenever I'm telling something, it does not go in. It's going out of the cup. There is no point. There is no point going to the meeting, going to listen to Dhamma talk. It's not going to help anyone. So it's a lesson there is that when we are ready to listen, we have to empty our cup. Am I talking for too long?
No.
No. So maybe I can talk for another 1 hour. Does it make any sense? If you want to get something, you have to empty the cup, empty the bowl. Talking about the bowl, now I remember another lesson in Buddhism is that there are some problem with a container, a bowl like this. Bowl. Is that one is what I just said, if it is full, you cannot put anything inside. So you have to empty it. But if it is leaking, let's say the bowl has a hole, then you put something, it's going out. So that's also a problem. Your mind cannot have a leak. You hear something now and then you go back, you forget it. You watch YouTube videos or Facebook Live, football or something, I don't know. The other thing is, if the bowl has something that is dirty, you understand? Then if I put something in it, it will become dirty. So if our mind already has something dirty, then we need to pay attention to it and clean it, purify it. Right? And the other thing is, like that bowl, it has a lid. Right? It's empty inside. So if you put something, you can put, but it has a lid. You cannot put anything inside. So these are, I think, very interesting examples to think about. Buddhist examples is when we are going to listen to teachings, to think about it is, what is my condition? Am I ready? Am I ready with my heart, with my mind? Am I close-minded? Am I dirty-minded? Or my mind has a hole and it's leaking? Or it has a lid? We have to think about that. Right? Now, last thing I will say, and then I will finish my long conversation, is another story. Is also a Zen monk. This monk, he was gifted a bowl, a crystal bowl, not like this, and cup, actually a crystal cup, teacup. Somebody offered him a crystal cup and he was so happy. It's very beautiful and nice. Then every day he is looking at the cup and saying thank you to the person who gifted the cup. And then he is also, when he looks at the cup, he is also saying this cup is broken. It's actually not broken. It's a very perfect, beautiful cup. But when he is looking at the cup, he's saying it's a broken cup. Every day. And then finally, after a month or 2 months, someone was looking at the cup and he dropped it. And then the cup was broken, finally. So when the monk saw that, he said, okay, let's clean it now. Instead of getting angry, instead of getting upset, instead of being sad, he just said, let's just clean it. Because for all this time, he already said this cup is broken. Because this cup, one day it will break. That is the nature of things. Everything will break, everything will disappear. Every life will die. We cannot hold on to anyone or anything. This is the nature of life. Impermanence is the nature of life and the reality of life. So when he is looking at the cup and saying it's a broken cup, he is saying it's going to break someday. He's saying it's impermanent. I cannot be attached to it. Right? There is change. Change is the reality of life. If we do not accept this change, when the change comes, we will be upset. Not ready to face life. This is what I mean when I talk about the difficult moments in our life, the challenging moments in our life, the uncertain moments in our life, the changing realities of life. If we do not practice this every day, then we are not ready to face the realities, the changing, uncertain difficulties of our life. If it makes any sense. So let you know that when we celebrate annual events like this, it's amazing, wonderful, but we also have a responsibility to ourselves to return to the practice regularly, maybe weekly basis or daily basis. How do we return to the practice? We read books, we read stories, we have Dharma community discussion, we do meditation if you can do meditation. So this kind of practices, we have to come back again and again and again on our own. Or we visit the temples and then have this kind of conversation. So I hope that all of us will make time to do this kind of cultivations and learn more from the Buddhist teachings. There are so many wonderful and beautiful teachings in Buddhism, but we don't know it if we don't study it or if we don't practice it. And it's an individual choice. We cannot go to your home and check on your homework. We're not your teachers. So as adults, it's your individual choice. Children, you can tell your children to study or not, but who is telling you? Right? So you have to be taking care of yourself spiritually. So again, I want to thank you all for, first of all, organizing this as a community and inviting us all from different places to do this punya karma, and I hope that there will be some good, meaningful takeaway from this event that will stay with you as the event finishes. And personally, I want to thank you all for inviting me all the way from Georgia and allowing me to reconnect with everyone. And again, many thanks to the Mahasangha for being committed to this. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Bhante.